Amid the impasse over Gaza's ceasefire deal, a Hamas delegation held talks with Egyptian intelligence officials. The delegation met with the head of the Egyptian General Intelligence and a number of Egyptian intelligence officials. They discussed ways to stop the war and aggression, bring in aid, and open the Rafah crossing at Gaza's border with Egypt. The meeting comes just days after Israel and Hezbollah agreed on a ceasefire in Lebanon. The United States, on the other hand, has confirmed that the White House is working on a potential deal to end the hostilities and secure the release of Israeli hostages from Hamas. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan, however, cautioned that a resolution had not yet been reached. He further added that the United States is actively working on it and is engaged deeply with key players in the region. Meanwhile, the UNRWA, which is responsible for aid delivery in Gaza, has suspended shipments through the Karem Shalom crossing, which has been a primary route for humanitarian assistance. UNRWA chief Felipe Lazzarini has condemned the situation, citing repeated attacks on aid trucks and an increasingly dangerous environment for relief workers. This comes after the United Nations warned on Friday that Gaza has descended into anarchy, with hunger soaring, looting, and rising number of rapes in shelters as public order falls apart.
Here in Gaza, there is famine. We are dying of hunger and there are many thieves, swindlers, injustice, hatred and theft. Why? Because there is no government, oversight or accountability.
Meanwhile, leaders at the 45th Gulf Cooperation Council Summit in Kuwait issued a call for immediate and comprehensive ceasefire in Gaza.
The Supreme Council called for an end to the crimes of killing and collective punishment in Gaza, the displacement of the population and the destruction of civilian facilities and infrastructure, including health facilities, schools, and place of worship, in clear violation of international law and international humanitarian law.
The Palestinian Health Ministry claims at least 44,466 people have been killed in more than 13 months of war between Israel and Hamas. The toll includes 37 deaths in the past 24 hours alone. In another development, Yemen's Houthi group claimed responsibility for a coordinated attack on Sunday, targeting U.S. military assets in the Arabian Sea and Gulf of Aden. The U.S. Navy has yet to confirm the details of that attack.
نفذت القوات البحرية وسلاح الجو المسير.
The naval forces, drone air force, and missile force of the Yemeni army carried out a significant and joint military operation targeting an American destroyer and 3 supply ships belonging to the US military: the Stena Impeccable, the Maersk Saratoga, and the Liberty Grace. The operation was carried out with 16 ballistic and cruise missiles and drones in the Arabian Sea and the Gulf of Aden, achieving precise and direct hits.
ونفذت العملية ب16 صاروخا باليستيا ومجنحا وطائرة مسيرة.
For more on this, we are being joined by Adrian Calamel, live from New York. He's a fellow at Arabian Peninsula Institute, a terrorism and Middle Eastern scholar, and the author of a forthcoming book on Hezbollah. Adrian, great to speak to you, and thank you for joining us. Has any progress been made on a ceasefire or a hostage release deal in Gaza as of now?
Great to see you, Susan. Thank you for having me. I don't see any progress on this front because if you hear some of the messaging coming out of Hamas, the Palestinian Islamic Jihad delegation, as well as Fatah, that's been meeting with Egypt, they are saying that we're open to any type of ceasefire deal, but we're not talking about the hostages. So they're looking, they keep on mentioning a day after plan. So when I hear about a day after plan, I think they probably looked at what happened in Lebanon, looked at the pressure that the French put on Israel, looked at the pressure that the United States put on Israel, and were able to force them into a ceasefire agreement. Also, we have to remember that Khamenei has lost a lot of leverage over the last year, and those hostages are the remaining leverage that he has in many ways. So it's hostages for Israel, and it's trying to make sure that Hamas is not eliminated, and there's a day after where Hamas can rebuild, just like Hezbollah is going to try and rebuild.
And Adrian, can you help us make sense of what's happening in Syria right now? There are a lot of questions surrounding that, and whether or not there'll be any implications for the crisis that we're seeing in the Middle East as well, regarding Israel and Hamas, for example.
Yes, great question. And that's where, all the news has been. Well, I shouldn't say all the news. There should probably be more focus on this. And I think we really need to put this in context, is where this group that is being HTS, or Harakat al-Sham, which was Jabhat al-Nusra, which was part of al-Qaeda and really is still part of al-Qaeda, has been in northeastern part of, or northwestern part of Syria in Idlib province. And they've really had an enclave there. And if we look at this and really call balls and strikes on this, it's the Turks, it's Erdogan that has been maintaining their survival. There's been times when Hezbollah and other groups were lining up to finish off Jabhat al-Nusra in Idlib, but that move was never made. They saw an opening, and then it's been a blitzkrieg. Now, Syria, with the proxies of the Islamic Republic, as well as Russian air support, is going to quickly fill that void. And I would think that we will see some of these gains rolled back that they have made.
All right, very interesting. There's so much more to talk about, Adrian. Unfortunately, I'm out of time. Thank you so much for joining us, and I look forward to speaking to you again very soon.
Thank you, Susan. Always a pleasure.
For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.